walk around here with our kids, shopping. We go here. We're not really thinking about this on a daily basis.
Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
And here we talk about parenting and all things life. And Monica, here we are again in a different
setting. I love this setting, though. I think your husband's going to have to film us all the time now.
I know. We're like nice and cozy here.
I love it.
So, for those of you that don't know, okay, so we shoot in this place that they specialize in podcast and all that. But, we like to spice it up a little bit. We like to sometimes go to your house.
Yeah.
We like to come to my house and kind of, do things
Change it
different.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to also shoot in different cities and countries and make it like a
Different settings.
parenting, travel, and all things life.
I like that one. I like it. Let's put it out into the universe. So that's what we have.
I know. Why stay in one place?
I love it. So what did you do this weekend?
So I went to the movies, finally. You did too.
I did too.
And it's so great because I feel like going back to the movies, to the movie theater, like it's coming back.
Yes, right? Because there was a time that no one was going to the movie theaters. Actually, movie theaters closed down. A lot of them closed down during COVID and all that.
Yeah, or they were like super empty. And it's this campaign also that a lot of Hollywood stars, I know Nicole Kidman did like a really, really nice, a short film. Not a short film, a long commercial. I don't know what to call it, but it was about, and she did it in a theater talking about, the great thing about going to the theaters, the smell, just being there, the dark room, the big screen, all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually didn't fall asleep because when I watch a movie at home, I typically like lay on the sofa, and by the time you know it, I'm 30 minutes in, and I'm like roncando. I'm done, So at least at the movie theater, I'm like, it's the big screen. You're there with your popcorn, your water.
Yes, you have to have the popcorn.
Yes,
butter, no butter.
Oh, no butter.
Okay, me neither. But what I do feel is that, they're coming back with this whole campaign of going back to the movies with films like Barbie, which I haven't seen it. I don't know if I'm gonna see it. Maybe I don't know.
I'm not really interested in it, but I might, just like for fun or something.
I don't know. I'm just scared of taking Luna, and then we already have so many like princesses and toys. It's like if I take her,
and then she's gonna want everything in pink, then everything.
Yeah, no. Let's not do that right now. And I do want to see Oppenheimer. That's another film that they're promoting to bring back people to the theaters.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah,
I haven't. I'm like not like up to date with
okay,
it. I was up to date with the one movie that we both watched.
Yes, we're gonna be talking about that. But one thing about the movie theaters, and if anybody's listening that is somehow related to AMC, this, that, whatever, Regal, movie theaters, they do need, if they want people to come back, they need to start like investing and fixing up their theaters, because I've been to a few where the leather seats are all like already,
they're peeling.
I'm like, what is this black stuff in my
peeling.
hands?
No, actually, when I went, which was this past weekend, Benjamin goes to me, look up, and I look up, and there was holes in the ceiling, like big holes in the ceiling. He's like, oh my God, something's gonna fall on top of us, and I was like, wow, they really need to maintain it. But take in mind, they're getting probably back up again with, trying to get people in, and then hopefully they'll start to do something.
Yeah, I hope so. I remember Fabian saying, the streaming of movies, it's taking over and all these theaters are going to close. Hopefully that's not the case, because you want to be able to say, I'm going to the movies. You want to go to the movies, like, again, like we were saying, the popcorn and the soda and everything you try not to eat, you eat it there.
And it's the big screen, it's the sound, it's everything. It's like you're in it, versus when you're watching it at home. You have the comfort of being on your sofa or whatever, and by the time that you're watching the movie, like at least, again, for me, I end up falling asleep.
And you're always there. You want to, again,
yes.
change scenarios like we do.
Scenery. Change of scenery.
Yeah, but they do need to fix that. And also the employees, come on. You're at a movie theater. It starts at a certain time, and then you have these employees. I don't know. Where we live, it happens. And they're so slow.
It looks like you had the same experience I had.
Oh my
Our movie
gosh.
started at 10, I think it was. We went for the late one.
For the late one.
10 and supposedly 10. And I'm like, okay, so 10 o'clock, okay, previews, whatever. And I don't think it started till like 10:40. We were there
because of commercials and
but
previews
10:40.
and stuff.
But I never remember it being that long.
Yeah.
Like you would say 10 and okay,
25 minutes of previews and
maybe.
that's it.
But I don't know. I felt, or maybe I haven't been to the movie theater in a long time.
But do you have problems in the concession stands, like were they slow? Because that drives me crazy. I'm like, come on, like how long can it take you to put some popcorn in the freaking box and then soda?
This
and
time,
no.
no.
So slow.
No, this time no, because there was a long line, and I think these kids, most of them were kids. They're like trying to, excuse me, haul ass and trying to get all their stuff and put the popcorn, and then obviously people are waiting because they're waiting to get into their movie. So they were, no, I didn't have that issue this time, but yes, I did see the broken like roofs and the leather peeling or the pleather. The
I was like, come on, the seat wasn't going all the way up, but it's funny. So you went on last Friday. You went to see it with Benji.
Yes,
that was your
date night.
Monica was like, oh, I think I'm gonna call Benji. Let's go out. I want to go dancing.
Yeah, right.
And then she's like, we went to the movie.
That always happens. I think it's the age. I'm telling you. It's again, a friend of mine was like, let's go out. We should really go out and go dancing like we used to and get dressed up. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds good in theory. But then as we get later into the night, I'm like, no, I don't feel like it. Let's go do something more calm.
I think what bothers me more is distance. Like if it's,
we're
the driving. We're in Broward, Florida, and so people think like, oh, you're in Miami. Let's meet in Brickell. It's like, no, I'm like 45 minutes away from there. So it's more like the distance. It comes to a time also, I guess when we're parents, I don't know. It's this thing of, okay, I have to wake up early in the morning to take care of Luna, so I don't want to go to bed too late. And then I don't want to be on the road at 2 o'clock in the morning with the people that might be drunk and texting. And I don't know, some like responsibility fell upon me. And
I love to go out.
Yeah, me too.
I love to go out. So in the mornings, I'll listen to, let's say, I'll put 94.9 on, which has like a lot of reggaeton and stuff like that. So I listen to it and I'm like jamming, like while I'm doing my, stuff or whatever. And I call Benjamin, we should go out dancing. And this is like
at 9 in the morning.
9, 10, we should go dancing tonight. We should make plans to go out dancing. And then before you know it, like when it really hits time and like the sun's going down and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, no, okay, forget it. No, we're not going anywhere. What are we doing? Let's go eat something and then come back home
and watch Netflix. But you did go to the movies. Good.
Yes.
So I went on Sunday, and it's funny because I got my ticket to see Sound of Freedom, and Luna wanted to go to the movies, but I'm not going to take her to see that movie, right? So Fabian takes her next door to see Elemental, which I wanted to see so bad. Anyway, so mine started later. So I sat with them like for 40 minutes. I had to put my alarm because I was going to forget. I was so into the movie Elemental. I love it.
Oh, so he sat with her.
So he sat with her, but I was there for like 30, 40 minutes because mine was starting later.
Okay.
And it was great. It's just the switch going from like a light movie like Elemental to going to Sound of Freedom, where it touches something that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what happened here? But yeah, tell me, did you like the movie?
I did. I liked it.
We're talking about Sound of Freedom, people.
Yeah. And the reason why we're talking about it, obviously, because it pertains to kids, and this is a mama's playground, and this is what we talk about, parenting and so on. I liked it. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of critics and people coming out before. So I was reading a lot about it online and then seeing stuff on social of, people's reviews of it. And then, unfortunately, a lot of people made this a political movie,
Yeah.
That kind of was like, people saying that this is I always forget how to say the word QAnon. This is basically like the right's basically trying to, put this fear thing. But in all honesty, let's be honest, like this is something that's been happening for years. This is not something that just happened now, And I had been following Tim Ballard before this movie came out. Yeah.
So Tim Ballard, he's a former agent for the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those agents and those people that work really hard to keep us safe.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, so you were,
No, I had been following
and
him.
the
Yeah,
movie has to do with him, by the way.
it's
In case somebody hasn't seen it.
he's the main like character. Let's put it that way. They're portraying him, and obviously there's things in this movie because I was reading comments and then people start saying, oh, I'm so deceived. Like, I'm not gonna put spoilers in here, but there's certain scenes that didn't even happen, and I'm like, most movies that are based on a true story, they're making a movie about it. They prolong things. They put things in there that did not actually happen. It's just the whole perspective of the movie is telling you something that is true, which is the thing of the child trafficking, the kids that they did get to save and so on. So I was reading like certain comments and I was like, dude, come on, give it a break. Child trafficking exists. It has existed for many years, especially in places of poverty, places like, I'd say Colombia, Honduras, stuff like that. A lot of this stuff goes on. I mean, I'm going to say a story about that.
And it says that it's one of the most overshadowed problems that we have. One of the things about the movie that they were saying is that, because they show in the movie that it happens by strangers, like strangers take the kids. And most of the times, it's not strangers. It's people that actually your kids know. It could be an uncle. It could be a friend of your father. Like, it could be, but it's usually people that already know you, and they kind of target the most vulnerable. Yeah. The most like, I don't have anybody to talk to, or that. And of course, a lot of refugees and immigrants. And this one is based more in Honduran kids in Colombia.
Yeah, in Colombia. I mean, again, this is, child trafficking. I guess we're talking about like these people that are really targeting this and making this a business, right? You got a lot of pedophiles and all that out there, unfortunately. I mean, you could even go now and go online and try to see in your area. And I did that after the movie. I was like, I want to see like around my area how many people are registered as like sex offenders.
Yes, yeah.
I want to see.
I did that already here.
And I did the 1 mile, and okay, there was nothing. 2 miles, I started to see some houses creeping up, and then at 5 miles, there was like a lot of different homes. Now, what I don't like, and I don't know if this is true or not, so please don't quote me on this. Looking at these type of websites, I think they basically put everybody together. So like, for instance, you're the 18-year-old boy that had the 15-year-old girlfriend that is a minor, and they caught you in like a sexually
consensual.
Correct, but at that point they're boyfriend and girlfriend yet. You know what I mean? He's 18, he's an adult, and she's a minor. So they put them under the same umbrella, I guess, when you're looking at these websites, is what I've heard. And so I say, how legit is it in theory? I don't know if that's true or not. I'm putting it out there.
Because a lot of times it's, the parents got upset, but at the same time, the girl, it was consensual.
Yeah, or so even not. Like, I always had older boyfriends, and I even think, I was telling this to a friend of mine. I remember, being in a car talking. We were not doing anything, and he was 5 years older than me. I was maybe at the time like 15, 16. My parents knew of him. They knew I had a boyfriend. And I remember a police officer coming because we were parked like just in the car. And the guy comes with the, this was years ago, obviously, with the flashlight, looking in and going, and he knocks on the window, and then we open, and he's like, what are you doing? He asked for our IDs. I'll never forget. And I give him my ID, and he said, you need to take her home. It was like curfew, you know what I mean? Like, she should not be out at midnight. She's a minor. And I just think like, my parents know about, the boyfriends that I had. There was never anything like secretive or anything. But in these cases, like if somebody really wanted to take it further, some of these guys can end up being like a sexual predator, yet there was consensual and so it's weird.
Don't they put like a category in these websites saying
I don't know.
What type of sexual offender? Was he caught with, child pornography at home? What type of offender?
I'll be honest with you. I only, after the movie, I was like, you know what? I'm just curious to see in our area who. So I looked on this site, and I can't remember what it's called. And I just put my zip code in and my address to see. And then like houses started creeping up. But I guess you got to like click individually and see what kind of, predators there is out there, But I think they group them together. They do group them together. Anyways, that's on another note. But yes, the child trafficking, I believe, does exist.
Yeah, and 3 of the states where it's seen the most: California, LA, Texas. I mean, you're looking at these states that are close to the borders, and then Florida came out. And the reason why we were like, okay, let's go watch the movie. I mean, obviously, I know, and they're giving free tickets and everything. I did want to pay for it because it's, you want to support. This film, the budget was $14.5 million, and it's up to like 130 right now.
I know. I think it was actually, there was like, I don't know if it was Disney. I don't know. Again, these are just skimming through articles. That Disney had the license for it. They were like sitting on it for like 5 years, never did anything with it. Then Netflix was supposed to. I think it was Disney. This is what I heard. I don't know if that's true. And I'm going to have to. Two friends told me about it. They're like, did you know that Disney had the rights to this like movie about 5 years ago, but they never
for
put
some
anything.
reason I don't see like Disney
doing that.
this movie at all.
It's weird. I didn't either, but that's what they said, Disney. So I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna have to do some thorough research.
So I guess it came out with Angel Studios. The producer Eduardo Verastegui, it's his production, and with Angel Studios, which when we were at the movies now, the previews, they were showing all these other films that they're coming out with. And a shout out to the actor who was amazing, and Jim Caviezel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but he's so into what the movie is about at the end. I don't know if you stayed till the end after the credits that he's actually talking about how hard it was for them to come out with this movie, to get it like, there's
accepted. Yeah.
I've been there. Like there's so many obstacles when you're trying to do a movie from pre-production, production, the post-production. So they apparently went through a lot.
Unfortunately, again, I'm going to go back to the political side of this movie. I think at one point, what a lot of people were saying is that there was a lot of people, certain groups of people that didn't want this movie to come out. Like they did not want this to be seen. They didn't want this to be something in people's faces, excuse me. And it's unfortunate if that's true, again, because it is happening. And I think a lot of us need to be aware. We walk around here with our kids, shopping. We go here. We're not really thinking about this on a daily basis. No. And, my kids are small right now. Right now, I go to the restrooms with them. I go everywhere with them. But at a certain point, you're going to let them go to the bathroom by themselves. Like, oh, go do your stuff. And you don't think that, unfortunately, there could be predators out there that are just going to target you.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say earlier. The reason why we were talking about, like, let's go see the movie this weekend. Let's talk about it next week in our episode. It's because I received this message via WhatsApp, one of my group of friends. I don't know. And did you hear
Everybody got it. You sent it to me. Two friends sent it. Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my God, this is happening. Like, this is something that a cop saw in Coral Gables, which is part of Miami, which is 40 minutes away from where we're sitting right now. And these 10 girls walked into a restroom and 9 came out. And apparently there was somebody inside the restroom. She put like a mask or something on the girl so she couldn't say anything. I don't know where this all and I don't know what happened. I know the moms were waiting outside.
I think it was a hoax. So then, so everybody, because everybody I know, you sent me, then another friend sent me, then I started sending to other people, and then I ended up finding out, I said, can this be a hoax that was going around? Because, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I don't know if that particular message was a hoax. So then a friend goes to me, it was a hoax. So now I'm like, I didn't research.
But when you hear the message, this mom, she's even talking to the kids on the side, like, hey, no, go this way. It was it didn't sound like robotic.
It's weird. It was weird.
It was like me saying hey, Monica, this. Luna, wait, come here, hold on.
Who knows?
She was even talking to somebody, to a kid or something on the side. It did not sound like a hoax to me. At all.
You see, and that's the thing. Nowadays, you don't know what's true or what's not. They're even talking, and this is another subject altogether, with artificial intelligence, which could be a great thing, but also a bad thing. Like, they're going to be using people's voices. For instance, they could use our voices and do messages to our family members, or, it's just
it's very scary.
It's crazy, and it's scary. And I was seeing an article the other day where they actually AI makes this beautiful woman. And she's not even real, and they're posting. They're making a social media page about her on Instagram. Which. And a flip side, talking about this child trafficking stuff, maybe that's also a good way for these cops to catch the predators, because they make these little girls seem real, do a social media, let's say, page, make them an influencer. And then when the guys start, writing, or these pervs out there that have nothing better to do and, child, what is it? Child, or pedophiles, whatever.
Yeah.
Start messaging. Maybe they could start catching people,
and
so it could be good or it could be bad.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I work when I transcribe these cases, these federal court cases. I've had to do a lot of child pornography, and yeah, it's these undercover agents that they pretend, that they're these little girl, and that's how they catch these guys. We put CNN, Fox, whatever right now. We're going to be seeing Trump and Biden and Trump and Biden and Ukraine and Trump and Biden. And it's, I want to see more of other stuff. Like, I want to see what's going on. What can people do for it? So I'm happy that this movie came out, because it's kind of like now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We got people
creating
talking
awareness.
about it, creating awareness, and know that even though this happens more like supposedly to immigrants and to refugees, know that it can also happen anywhere.
Yeah, with the Tim Ballard thing, I have been following him probably for about a year. I just happened to get to him like through another page, and he talks about all that. He had been talking about that for years, because he's been doing this for years. And he was saying it's crazy because people think that it's a third world country problem, but on the contrary, there's a lot happening here in the States.
Yes.
And being that said, when I went to Mexico this year, like in March or April, I remember sitting at the resort that we were in, and I was telling this to Benjamin yesterday. I was like, man, remember that lady? He went to the buffet with the two kids to go get breakfast, and I was sitting at the table by myself, and I see these 3 American older gentlemen. They were past 65 years old. And they're there, they're gringo, American, and they're there with this Mexican girl that she was dressed like with a pencil skirt, really tight. I still remember what she was wearing, a button-down shirt in white, and these big stilettos. Okay, mind you, this is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. This is a beach place, and she's dressed like super.
How old was she?
Oh no, she was older.
Okay.
She was probably like the madam. Let's just put it that way. And they're sitting in the table next to me, and I'm on my phone, but I can hear their conversation.
No.
And the guy is going to her. Oh my God, yesterday was so much fun. That was so much fun. I can't even remember. Everything was such a blur. And she says to him, right? And he goes, oh, I don't remember whatever name he used. She's such a beautiful girl. And she goes to him, right? She's so pretty, and she's so sweet too. And he was like, yes, she was. Is she going to be there tonight? And she's like, yeah, I'll make sure she's going to be there tonight. And then they're talking, and I'm here thinking, wow, like this is happening all the time. And after this movie, I said, what if this girl, that she's like the madam, let's say that she's probably getting these people their drugs and their prostitutes and their whatever so that they could have a good time on vacation, is actually also doing this with minors. Like, you never know.
Who knows how old was that girl that they were talking about? And you see it in the movie.
Yeah.
You see that it was an old beauty pageant, Miss Cartagena.
Yeah.
She's the one doing it. You see with, we've seen it with Jeffrey
Epstein.
Yeah.
Epstein.
And what was the name of the one that was helping him?
Maxwell.
I love how you have all the names on point. I'm like, this one, that one, that. I'm terrible with
like
names.
more into all these things now.
I have to take notes for everything. Look, I have them in front of me.
Maxine Maxwell, right?
But
Maxwell.
how sad that then, and also another woman, like it's just sad. It's sad, and it is happening everywhere. We have to be careful with our kids in the bathroom when they stay at their friend's house.
Oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have sleep. I'm gonna let my kids sleep over.
Because you never know. Like, you also don't be like extremely paranoid, but you never know if there's an older brother there, if there's an uncle visiting from somewhere, and it's just
Unfortunately, you don't know. And now I realize when because my mom would let us when we were younger sleep over like friends' houses and all that. Obviously, the friends' houses that we were super close to, but I remember her having time saying like, "No, you're not staying at this person's house." And I would, why? And now as a mom, I understand completely. You know, as much as you want to trust people and think like they're never going to harm you or your kids or whatever, you just do not know what happens in somebody's household. You don't know somebody's intentions, you know? It's sad, you know, it's not to be paranoid, but it's also to be vigilant.
Yeah. So that's why, and I put here a list of like a long list. We'll go over it really quick of things that we can do to protect our children. One of them would be, talk to your children about sex.
Yeah.
About what sexual abuse. I don't know. I'm again, my daughter, she's 4.5. I'm still trying to also figure it out, like what's the right way, how to talk to them. She does know which are her private parts. Even when I'm bathing her, she's covering it. And she'll put soap on her hand and she'll clean herself. But we already talked about that, like in the school, close the door. They don't let the doors to be closed at her daycare, which drives me crazy. Have them like at an early age know what their private parts are. Talk to your children about the dangers of social media, maintain a good relationship, good quality time with children, because when they don't have that at home, that's when they go elsewhere.
Yeah.
They go confide in somebody else in social media, and also keep track of what they're doing online. 100%. Who
It's
they're
hard.
talking to. Oh, who's that person? Oh, it's a cool girl I met. That girl could be a man. So you have to be so careful.
Yeah.
Obviously, like if you're gonna drop them off at soccer or dance or this and that, try to stay in the area in the vicinity. Like just I don't know. I'd rather be like
Safe.
paranoid and
No, but you
safe
have
than
to.
yeah.
It's
Nowadays we
unfortunate.
have to.
You
Yeah.
have to. And I think even back in the day they had to. It's just I think it's gotten worse right now with all the technology and all the ways that we have for people to these predators to target.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you didn't have so much the social medias or, talking online. Like now, these little girls, let's say I'm saying little girls, but it obviously happens to the boys as well.
Yeah.
13,
And we saw
14,
that in the
15.
movie also with the boy.
Yeah, it's and everything, and like they meet somebody online. Oh my God, he's so cute, and it could be a fake profile to somebody,
Yeah.
and they're having this like secretive conversations. Let's meet at a restaurant. Like, oh, tell your parents to drop you off at so and so,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's hard, and I think it's a matter of again, it's not that you're not going to live. It's not that you're not going to let your kids do anything and be like, no, this is a jail cell. You can't do this.
It's
You can't
just
go here.
keeping an eye, just
Yeah, and
you
being
know,
very vigilant about what's going
the
on.
that and just tracking them when they're older, that they're driving, the find my phone, and no, not my phone, find my friend.
Find.
I always do find my phone because it's always lost. Find my friend, my family, something like that. Another thing, like just they have to be careful with what they post. And I'm I have an Instagram page for my daughter just because of modeling, and and she's only again like 4.5, and agencies now and casting directors, they look for their Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, does your daughter have an Instagram? Which it sucks because I wouldn't want her to have one, but at the same time, okay, is she not gonna get the job because this other kid has an Instagram following at 3 years old, whatever.
It's a catch
So
22.
it should be, I don't know, that should also be changed. Like, don't cast a little girl, a minor, based on their Instagram followers and likes. Because here I am trying to, okay, I had to open a page. I post for her, obviously. But then at times I'm like, I don't want to put the picture of her there.
When we spoke to this lady, I forgot her name, Sandra, that she was talking about the dark web.
Yeah.
And I was like, the dark web, like I've heard about it. I've just never really gone into like Google all this stuff of the dark web and like how they sell. And I'm like, but how do they sell kids on the dark web? Like, I'm still trying to understand, like, what do they do? How do they target you? They find a picture and they're saying to somebody, go find this kid, or I don't know, like, how does that work? I mean, it's so sad that we even have to think that exists, but it does. You got a lot of sickos out there and a lot of pervs out there. So, and you know what? And you used to think it was just men. But now it's like
It's
it's
the Coral Gables stories. It was actually a woman that was inside the bathroom.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess as you see, like if you haven't watched the movie, watch the movie again. There's gonna be parts in this that is obviously fiction in the sense of maybe the scenery or whatever, but the actual
Yeah.
story is something that definitely
they,
happens.
They were saying, like we were saying earlier, that it's more that it's usually people that the kids trust.
Yeah.
And in the movie, you see that it was more kidnapping. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there's both. But it's both ways. So it can be your neighbor that you trust. Don't leave the kids at home alone. I wouldn't.
Especially not at our age.
And then just teaching them, it's just, again, communication, like knowing what they're doing in social media. If they're walking to school, which that's something that I hope I never have to do that with her. But you see all these kids also walking to school. I see them around here all the time.
It's
and,
like
it, and
dirt.
they're so young, and I'm like, it takes like 1 second for a car to come and just bring them inside, and that's it. So
I had a, not too long, prolonged, but take in mind, I'm 42 years old. I remember where I used to live, my mom would let me ride bike around the block.
yeah,
And so, we spent more time outside, I would say, than indoors.
yeah.
It was kind of like a 50-50 maybe back then. And I remember riding my bike, and I remember riding my bike over to a shopping center that was close to the house. It's literally like a block away. Varadero Supermarket.
Hialeah.
Hialeah,
Hialeah in
yes. Varadero Supermarket, okay? So I would go, now it's called like Presidente or whatever, But I would ride bike there. And I remember my mom said, I don't want you going to the shopping center. I want you to stay on the street. And when I'm finished cooking, you come inside. And I was like, okay, Mom, I'm going to stay right here. I must have been like 12 or 13 years old. So I was like, no, I was always rebellious and always like, wow, I want to push the limit. So
I'm
I
going
went.
to Varadero Supermarket.
Oh, yeah. And for me, it was a big deal. And I remember, my mom knows this story. I remember riding bike to Varadero Supermarket, roaming around. They had like a pet store next door. It's a huge shopping plaza. And then I come back. On the way back, there was a car following me. And there was a gentleman in there by himself. And as I was getting into my block at the end of the street, and I still remember this very vividly, he was driving really slow, and all of a sudden he opens up his windows and he does that nasty shit that these like fucking, excuse my language, but it really
we can talk
pisses me
here,
off. Like
say anything.
he literally does like that V sign and then starts doing the licking,
yeah.
okay, that thing. And my heart was pacing. Thankfully, there was a neighbor outside that I didn't know him, but he was at the end of the street, but he was like regando las matas, right, with la manguera. And I stopped my bike right there. And I just stopped, like if I knew him. And he was still regando, but I stopped. And the guy stayed looking at me. He caught eyes and he sped off. And I say to myself, I am 42. That happened to me when I was maybe 12, 13. I don't know exactly the age, but it was about that time frame. So it's always happened, And being a woman also has always, you, unfortunately, it is what it is. So if it was happening then and it's been happening for years, now with everything we've got going on, it's happening even more. And again, that's not the child trafficking. That could be some freaking pedophile that probably could have taken me. And, God only knows. And nowadays it's everything. It's the trafficking. It's the pedophiles. It's everything.
These are the types of human trafficking. Look, involuntary organ donors, sexual exploitation, pornography, child soldiers.
Child soldiers.
Child soldiers. That's unlawful recruitment of a child through force, fraud, coercion associated with armed forces or an armed group. Child soldiers. Then we have the child brides.
Oh, my Lord.
And the labor trafficking. So it's a lot going on. And yeah, it happened to you when you were 12. It happened to me in a car in LA when I was in my 30s. It happens sometimes when you're like walking with your daughter and cars come by and men lower the window and say like things that you're like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of like crazy people out there. One thing I want to point out, please also be careful with the bathrooms, the cameras. Again, my dad works in all these federal cases and he's constantly telling me he's very updated with the shit that's going on out there. And he just heard of some cases that have to do with Airbnb, people putting
cameras.
Airbnb owners putting cameras. And nowadays, you go to Amazon and you can find like a camera like this small.
Some perv maybe is sitting behind a computer.
You can put it like anywhere. You can put it in a stuffed animal for a kid. Like we just have to be as parents like more aware than ever of what's going on. Hotels. You were talking about the hotel you were in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's another thing that the hotels now there's 3 main chains, which I'm not going to mention. But now they've had to train employees because they've had issues in the past where they were not reporting things that were happening. Like young girls upstairs changing sheets all the time, men going up and down with no suitcases to the same rooms. And it's just also in hotels, you have to be so aware with the cameras, with everything. And then for the owners and the employees of who's coming in and out.
Yeah, and again, this is not meant to say to be paranoid. We're not
Yeah,
paranoid.
I know
It's
this
not that
is a
we don't live.
paranoid
We go
episode.
out, we go to hotels, we stay places, but
Yeah.
it's a matter of just being vigilant. Like sometimes we forget that we live in a world with so many other people, and unfortunately, not everybody is like let's say good
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
There's bad people out there. And going on the note of what you said with the younger kids, because again, mine's are 2 boys, 3 and 5. I till this day I always tell them your private parts are your private parts.
Yeah.
The only people that can touch your privates is your grandparents or your grandmas when they clean you, because the grandfathers really don't change them or anything like that, and your mom and your dad when they're taking you a bath. If you go to the doctor, it's only for him to see it, and he's not supposed to be touching you at all the time. And then with Jacob, that he's older, he's told me like, Mom, so mi pipí no se toca, verdad? Like my pipí you don't touch. And I was like, no, I only touch it, and even mommy only touches it to clean it, and I'm done. That's it. That's all. And then I have the little one that likes to flash everybody now. He thinks it's funny. And I'm like, stop flashing your privates, because that's your private. So I'm trying to tell him that you don't do that.
That's Noah. That's Noah. He should have his own show when he's Well, he's almost there. He's
If we're doing this for
character.
years, and when he's older, I'm going to be like, okay, well, let's go back to this episode. Remember, Noah, when you were 3?
God. And he'll be like, flashing like what, mommy, like this?
But I do. It's funny because he's 3, but I tell him, no. You stop doing that. You don't do that. Your privates are for nobody to see. They're yours and nobody else's. So it's constantly.
And that goes for everybody. Yeah. And with that is our lesson. Your private parts
are yours, and they're nobody unless
and
you
your
know.
Husband.
Exactly.
We were just talking about the movie, talking about something that we should talk about because we don't see much of that in the media. And it's about protecting our kids and just, be aware of what they're doing in social media, what they're posting. Nowadays, we also do it. We walk. We're more distracted in the car. Before getting out of the car to go to the store, coming back like, oh, let me fix the mirror. No, get in the car, leave. Don't stay around the car too long. Teach that to your kids also that are starting to drive. And just be careful with distractions. If you're walking, like don't be nighttime and daytime because don't be like too much on your phone. Like just be aware of everything that's going on. So it's not paranoid. It's just being aware.
We're putting awareness. That's what it is.
Awareness. So we are going to be taking a 2-week break. I feel that this summer, I'm like the one on Instagram, and I had said it before, Facebook. Oh, these people are at the beach. They went to the beach. They're at my sister's on a cruise. My parents are in Puerto Rico, and I'm like, man,
I'm here.
So we're gonna take a 2-week vacay. I am trying to go to Puerto Rico with Luna because I miss it. I miss it a lot. I need some of that time, some boost of energy. But she did 2 castings, so it all depends on that.
Yeah.
On callbacks. And what are your plans?
Chicago. So we are going to be visiting Chicago to visit a really good friend of mine. So we're going to be taking a week, over there. So that's why we're stopping filming for the next 2 weeks.
It's just 2 weeks. So what we're going to do is the first week, we're going to show your favorite episode or mine. We don't know the order yet. Let's flip a coin. Let's see.
We don't have one, but, let's pretend. Let's pretend.
Wait, let's throw.
We'll find it. We'll find one. We'll find it.
Whatever. We'll figure it out. But 1 week it's gonna be your favorite show. The other one it's gonna be my favorite show.
And then we resume again for the following.
And we resume on the first week of school. And the episode's gonna be about how not to go crazy during the first week of school. No, kidding. That one might be coming like around midterm.
Yes.
It's gonna be on bullying, and that's gonna be on the week that we start school, that the kids start school. We do too, because we have to wake up, take them, all that stuff.
Oh my Lord, I'm not looking forward to that. But anyways, yes.
So enjoy Chicago.
Thank you, and enjoy Puerto Rico if you go to Puerto Rico.
Oh my God, I hope so.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and you haven't seen Sound of Freedom, go watch it. I think it's a great movie to watch. It's just to build awareness and hug your babies tight, protect them, and live at the same time.
Yeah, and also I wanted to give this the FBI. If you know of if you're going through this, if somebody if you saw some suspicious activity, so you can go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And the number is 1-800 The Lost, THELOST. And there's a human trafficking hotline. It's 1-888 373-7888, or you can text help or info to 233-733. And that's it for
And we ended there.
today. We
Yeah.
ended there. Bye, guys. Take
Bye,
care of
guys.
yourself. Take care of your family. Love you.
Yes. See you.
Bye.
Ciao.